Okay, picture this scenario. I think it's one that a lot of our listeners are going to recognize instantly. You're running a business, and by all the standard metrics, things are going fantastic. Sales are climbing, maybe you just signed a few major clients, you're hiring, you are in full-blown growth mode. But, and there's always a but in these stories, every time you try to accelerate, the whole car just starts to shake.
The engine starts sputtering right when you need it the most.
Exactly. You're pushing the gas, but the response just isn't there. Your servers are lagging during a critical presentation. The software feels clunky. Your remote team takes like 20 minutes just to get the files they need. It feels like your technology is actively fighting you. And you're sitting there thinking, why is this happening? We're successful. This should be getting easier.
Well, that's the paradox of growth. It feels like failure, but what you're describing is actually a very specific phenomenon. It's really a symptom of success.
And that is exactly what we are unpacking today. We're diving into a concept called the tri-entity synergy.
Hmm.
I know that sounds a little academic, but the implications are so practical. If you think IT is just about, fixing laptops and keeping the Wi-Fi on, this is going to change how you see things.
It really shifts the paradigm. We're moving the conversation from the server room to the boardroom. We're going to talk about something called the scalability gap and why the old jack-of-all-trades IT model is basically a death sentence for growth.
And this is the part I think is crucial. We're going to talk about how you can overhaul your infrastructure without firing the people who helped you build it.
That's the key. That's the part that I think most leaders miss.
It is. I know that fear of replacing the team holds so many people back. So let's start with the problem itself. The source calls this the scalability gap. What exactly is that?
So the scalability gap is that really dangerous phase where your operational ambition, what you want to do, exceeds your infrastructure, what you're actually able to do.
So it's just growing pains.
It is, but growing pains sounds kind of temporary, like something that just passes. The scalability gap doesn't just go away, it gets wider. The source material uses a great term for the symptoms. It calls them growth cracks.
Growth cracks. I like that image. It sounds structural.
It is. Think about it. When a system crashes or you can't add more users, the knee-jerk reaction from a CEO is usually, my IT team is failing.
Right. Why can't Bob fix this? You blame the tech guy.
But this model reframes it. Those aren't failures of personnel. They are signals that you have outgrown your shell. And this is where the mindset has to shift. You have to stop viewing IT as a utility, like water or electricity, and start seeing it as a vehicle for strategy.
Okay, that's a big distinction. A utility is something you only notice when it breaks, right?
Exactly. The only time the CEO talks to the IT manager is when email is down. The conversation is about cost. But when IT is strategy, the conversation is about growth. How can this make us faster than the other guys?
But here's the thing. For a lot of companies, that one person, that Bob, has worked for years. He's loyal, he works late, he fixes everything. Why is that jack-of-all-trades model suddenly broken?
It's not just that tech is harder. It's that the categories of work have fundamentally split. 15 years ago, IT was one bucket. Now, cloud architecture, cybersecurity, and help desk support are three completely different disciplines.
So expecting one person to be an expert in all of them is just unrealistic.
It's like asking your family doctor to also perform your brain surgery. He might be a great doctor, but you want a specialist for that.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
And the source makes a great point about cognitive load. When your internal guy is switching from a printer jam to, defending against a nation-state hacker, his effectiveness on the complex tasks just plummets. He's in survival mode.
So the growth crack isn't incompetence, it's just bandwidth. Bob is drowning.
It's structural bandwidth, and that's where this tri-entity concept comes in. You have to stop looking for a unicorn and start building a stable of specialists.
Okay, so this is the core of it. Instead of one blob of IT, they break it into an ecosystem of three pillars, and they map to business psychology, which I find fascinating.
That's the key. Each one delivers a specific psychological promise.
Let's look at the first one, the foundational entity.
Right. This is your managed service provider, your MSP. Their entire job is stability and infrastructure.
So keeping the lights on?
But doing it perfectly. The psychological value here is peace of mind. The promise is simply, my systems won't crash. You can't build anything if your foundation is shaky.
Okay, that's the bedrock. Then there's the second one, which seems more critical every day. Protective.
This is cybersecurity. And notice it must be separate from day-to-day operations. Its promise is trust.
Why the separation, though? Why can't the foundational team just handle security?
Well, it's the old fox guarding the henhouse problem. If the same person who builds the network is the one auditing it for flaws, they're grading their own homework. There's a built-in conflict of interest.
That is a scary thought.
Yeah.
So the protective entity is basically there to keep the foundational entity honest.
Exactly. It creates checks and balances. And that trust isn't just a feeling, it's the ability to tell a huge client, yes, we are compliant and we have a separate security firm auditing us. That wins deals.
Okay, so we have stability and we have protection. Then there's the third one, the innovative entity.
The R&D branch, this is where the magic happens. This isn't about fixing problems, it's about custom engineering. The promise here is a competitive edge.
This is the we can do things our rivals can't part.
Precisely. This is where you automate workflows or use data to get ahead. Most companies never get here because their IT guys are just too busy resetting passwords.
Okay, I buy the logic. It makes sense. But here's where I want to play the skeptic, because I know what every business owner listening is thinking right now.
How much is this going to cost me?
Well, that, but also the human issue, the all-or-nothing fear. If I bring in this high-powered ecosystem, do I have to fire Bob?
Right, Bob. The guy who came in on a Saturday to fix the server. You feel loyal to him, and frankly, he knows your business inside and out.
Exactly. Losing that institutional knowledge is a huge risk. And usually, when consultants come in, the internal team gets shown the door.
And this is where this model flips the script entirely. It tackles this with what they call the co-managed approach. And honestly, this is the genius of the whole thing.
Okay, so explain that. It's not a replacement strategy.
No, not at all. It avoids that ultimatum. It's not us or them. It's an augmentation tool.
Augmentation. So we keep the internal team, but we surround them with support.
Think about Bob again. We already established he's drowning. He's overwhelmed with help desk tickets. He's terrified of a ransomware attack. He has zero time to learn new tech. He's probably burning out.
And looking for another job, probably.
Exactly. So when you bring in this ecosystem, you're not bringing a replacement. You're bringing in the cavalry. You're telling Bob, hey, we're bringing in a partner to handle all the boring stuff, the patches, the backups, the password resets, and we're bringing in a security team to watch your back 24/7.
We're taking the grunt work off his plate.
And then the liability. You're reducing the threat level for him. So instead of seeing this external firm as an enemy coming to take his job, he sees them as a partner who is going to make his life 100 times easier.
And what does that leave Bob to do?
The high-value work. Now he can actually work on that big project you've been talking about for 2 years. He can be the bridge between the company and the innovative team. He becomes a manager of resources, not a firefighter.
So you keep the institutional knowledge, you keep the loyalty, but you back it up with an army of specialists.
It's a pathway for digital transformation without the cultural bloodbath. It's a win-win.
I think that is such a critical point. If you're a business owner and you've been afraid to upgrade because you don't want to hurt your team, this model says upgrading is the best way to help your team.
You're giving them the tools to succeed, not setting them up to fail.
So let's say a listener sees those growth cracks. They see their Bob struggling. How do they actually evaluate a provider? The source mentions a health check.
Yeah, and this is another psychological shift. They call it the doctor versus vendor approach.
Walk me through that.
Well, a vendor wants to sell you something, right? A car salesman wants to sell you a car today.
Right.
But a doctor is different. They don't just hand you a prescription. They run diagnostics first. They look at the symptoms. They might even tell you, you don't need surgery, you just need more sleep.
So the provider acts like a diagnostician.
Correct. The health check is a consultative diagnostic. And the source mentions a crucial detail, a 10-minute limit for the first check.
Why only 10 minutes?
It's about respecting the executive's time. It says, we're not going to waste an hour of your life with a boring PowerPoint. Give us 10 minutes, we'll diagnose your infrastructure.
That takes all the pressure off. It's just a checkup.
And it shows confidence. It shows they know exactly what they're looking for. They know where those growth cracks hide.
You know, stepping back a second,
Yeah.
what stands out to me the most about this whole deep dive isn't the tech. It's the humanity of it.
How do you mean?
We're talking about servers and cyber defense. But at its core, this is about a business owner who wants to grow but feels stuck. And it's about an internal IT team who wants to do a good job but feels totally overwhelmed.
That's a really great observation.
This tri-entity model isn't just about better technology. It's about aligning your infrastructure with your ambition. It's about admitting that good enough isn't good enough anymore.
And it's recognizing you don't have to do it alone. The hero mentality that one person can fix everything is just outdated. Growth requires an ecosystem.
So let's wrap this up. What's the one big takeaway for our listener today?
If you're seeing those growth cracks, the slowdowns, the bottlenecks, it means you're succeeding, but you have to move from that generalist model to a specialized ecosystem.
And the most important part.
You can do it with your current team. You don't have to choose between loyalty and capability. The co-managed approach lets you have both.
I love that. So here's a provocative thought to leave everyone with. Look at your own infrastructure. If your current IT setup is purely focused on fixing problems, are you actually prepared for the success you're chasing? Or are you building a skyscraper on a foundation that was meant for a bungalow?
That's the question.
That's a big one. Now listen, we've covered a lot of ground today. If this conversation sparks something in you, if you're thinking, that's exactly what we're going through and I'm worried about my team, then you might want to look deeper.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just need that external diagnostic.
If this message resonates with you and you want to learn more about our ecosystem and how it works, please reach out to Alejandro Duran, our VP of Sales, at alejandro@rhino.io.
That's Alejandro at rhyno.io.
Check it out. It might be the support your team has been waiting for. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Stay curious, everyone.